Selected parts from book One Life is Not Enough, written by Shri K. Nator Singh. Part 2. The youngest of four brothers, I had a lonely childhood because my three older brothers were studying at Mayo College, Ajmer. Aristocratic families kept very much to themselves and there was no socializing. The outside world was very outside indeed. I did not even know who my cousins were till I was nearly 10 years old. During these years, I was homeschooled. Private tutors were hired to teach me Hindi and Urdu. Life took a major turn when I was about 7. A new chapter opened up in our lives when my father was summoned by the state's British Diwan, Sir C.P. Hancock, ICS, and told that he would have to move to Bharatpur as assistant guardian to the young Maharaja Brijendra Singh, who had returned to India after spending 6 years in England. Captain Alexander, who had earlier served in the Northwest Frontier Province, was to be the Maharaja's guardian. Father was 37 years old then. In Bharatpur, we stayed in a palatial house. Brajendra Singh, known to his family as Indu, had been orphaned at the age of 10 and was a strong willed, ill tempered, and moody but generous 18-year-old prince. On reaching the age of 21, he would be the absolute ruler of 250,000 people, mostly villagers. Though my father soon realized his young ward's unpredictability, he remained loyal to the house of Bharatpur, which had done much for his ancestors. He understood that he had been selected by the British for this job because of the faith they placed on his integrity and sound judgment. Father was a practical man. He was not given to aimless self analysis, nor did he pretend to be intellectually inclined. His mind was uncluttered but not fenced. He was proud of his lineage but was not loud mouthed about it. Father's duties were not onerous, nevertheless, he was required to be in attendance throughout the day. From time to time, his patience and tact would be tried by the uncontrollable young Maharaja who could flare up even when unprovoked. Father would plead with him but not argue, and the responsibility of disciplining the Maharaja was Captain Alexander's, whose shadow fell everywhere. The Raj was omnipresent. From April to early October, the Bharatpur Darbar shifted to Shimla, the summer capital of the Raj, nearly 250 miles away. The royal retinue comprised my father, 4 AD camp, a large administrative staff, and an energetic team of rickshaw pullers and horses. Shifting the Maharaja along with his staff, horses, pets, and hangers on was a major undertaking. On the way to Shimla, we stopped in New Delhi for the night. I recall us going to 12 Hardinge Avenue, now Tilak Marg, to pay our respects to the Sardarni Sahiba of Rajsansi, a wealthy estate in the Punjab. This formidable great aunt of mine was perched on a huge platform which was very ornamental and stately. She was my grandfather's sister and my father's aunt. Our names were called out and we trooped in one by one, receiving one gold coin each. Nearly 50 years later, my wife's niece, Jaya, married Sardarni Sahiba's great grandson, Gurpal. The Bharatpur estate in Shimla was extensive with lots of fruit trees growing in spacious gardens and tennis courts, both grass and hard. Though our lifestyle was quite luxurious, I did not enjoy Shimla. The novelty of the hills soon wore off. I remember being confined to our cottage. It rained most of the time. To relieve my boredom, my father engaged an English teacher to teach me English. The outcome was not encouraging, and the young teacher gave up to my great relief. Mother did not much enjoy Shimla either, as she was constantly ill, so much so that doctors and nurses were in and out of our cottage on a regular basis. A servant of ours at Shimla, Havaldar Bhola Singh, was a memorable character. He had fought in Mesopotamia during World War I. He was severely wounded and had been awarded several medals, which he showed me with pride. He used to wear them on ceremonial occasions. One time, the ribbons of the medals needed replacement. He and I proceeded to the Army and Navy shop on the mall, where the shop owners were all British. Bhola Singh saluted them smartly and inquired about the price of the ribbons. One of the Sahibs had also fought in the war. Impressed by Bhola Singh's record, he gave him the ribbons for free. Bhola Singh was thrilled. From then on, I looked upon him with awe. He would regale me with his war exploits, which resembled those of Brigadier Gerard, who is one of the most entertaining characters created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. To some extent, the Maharaja would indulge me, affectionately addressing me as Bachu and give me toys. That, however, did not rid me of my nervousness, as he was extremely short tempered. In fact, he got annoyed when my eldest brother Bharat beat him at tennis. Bharat was immediately sent back to Bharatpur. Whims, not wisdom, were the Maharaja's constant companions. He was an inspired bully, but in the presence of the British guardian, he was subdued and well behaved. We would return to Bharatpur in time for the Dasara festival, usually in October, which was quite an occasion. The Maharaja rode on an elephant in a silver howdah along with the British Diwan in his full royal regalia, that is, jerry achkan, sword, a turban adorned with jewels, and the procession passed through the main bazaar. Father too was part of the procession, also dressed up. The entire street would be milling with people who had poured in from all parts of the state to pay homage to their Raja. The divine right of kings was then accepted without reservation. Despite a population of 35,000, Bharatpur did not have a cinema hall. Father, mother, my maternal grandmother, and I once drove all the way to Agra to see the Hindi film Achut Kanya starring Ashok Kumar and Devika Rani. We had reserved a box in the cinema hall. My mother and grandmother observed strict parda, and special arrangements were made by the cinema owner to ensure their privacy. Our car stopped at a side gate. Cannots had been installed on both sides of the alighting point to block out intruding eyes. I was hugely excited. 40 years later, I saw Devika Rani in Bangalore. The great event of the year in Bharatpur was the annual duck shoot in December. The Viceroy, Lord Linlithgow, heavy of mind and heavy of body, as Jawaharlal Nehru described him, would arrive with a large retinue. All work would come to a standstill during his 2-day trip. The butts would be selected with care by the Maharaja himself, and the Viceroy would be installed in the best possible location. The beaters who would make the ducks take off would stand waist deep in freezing water. The shoot would last nearly 4 hours, and the bag was several thousand ducks. The Bharatpur nobility turned up in breeches, tweed jackets, and sturdy shoes. Each one was introduced to the visiting British nobility but received only frigid smiles. The Bharatpur state had many Muslims, mostly Mias. They were converts to Islam, although they participated in Hindu festivals. Father came into close contact with them and was instrumental in establishing a rapport between the communities, so much so that the state remained peaceful for the next 15 years. The Mias held him in high esteem. When I contested the Lok Sabha elections of 1984 from the area, most of the elderly Mias I met spoke of father with nostalgic admiration. I was immensely moved. It was perhaps because of the admiration that I received nearly 65% of the Mia votes. The days of my undisciplined childhood at Bharatpur soon came to an end. Due to our proximity to the house of Bharatpur, I was awarded a scholarship. I thus joined my brothers at Mayo College, excited but apprehensive. On the train to Ajmer, I was inconsolable and cried most of the night. Thank you for listening. Father was a practical man. He was not given to aimless self analysis, nor did he pretend to be intellectually inclined. His mind was uncluttered but not fenced. Unclutter, UNCLUTTERED. Uncluttered means neat and orderly. Father's duties were not onerous. Nevertheless, he was required to be in attendance throughout the day. Onerous, ONEROS. Onerous means burdensome. From time to time, his patience and tact would be tried by the uncontrollable young Maharaja who could flare up even when unprovoked. Father would plead with him but not argue, and the responsibility of disciplining the Maharaja was Captain Alexander's, whose shadow fell everywhere. The Raj was omnipresent. 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 Omnipresent means being present everywhere at once. To some extent, the Maharaja would indulge me affectionately, addressing me as Bachu and give me toys. That, however, did not rid me of my nervousness, as he was extremely short tempered. In fact, he got annoyed when my eldest brother Bharat beat him at tennis. Bharat was immediately sent back to Bharatpur. Whims, not wisdom, were the Maharaja's constant companions. Whim, WHIM. Whim means unexpected, a sudden change of mind. Thank you very much.